Now do I get any understanding? And if that doesn't work, well, then I don't know what would.
Autopilot mode enabled.
But I'm not going to try anything servile.
Autopilot mode disabled.
It would be more comforting and more comfortable.
Which the servile? No.
To make an accommodation, to have some belief in the possibility of this not being the end.
Well, as long as I don't have to take the word of other humans on what are the necessary propitiations and gestures and subjections I have to submit myself to in order to qualify. There are many, many discrepant religions, all of whom say only if I support them or endorse them will I qualify. Well, now, I don't know that there is no such thing as consciousness without the brain. I very much doubt it. But let's say we don't know enough to say it's impossible because that other humans can know what the conditions are. Qualify for this. That I do know is false. No, I'm not afraid of being dead. This is my strong conviction. And if I find that I'm alive in any way at all, that'll be a pleasant surprise. I quite like surprises. But I strongly take leave to doubt it. I'm not one can't live without fear. It's a question of what is your attitude towards fear. I'm afraid of a storm in an ugly or squalid. That's going to be very pitiless.
That's
yes, death. Quite. It was so. If you, I forget now which you are. So
what do you?
It's a good distinction. Of death, no. Of dying. Yes, I feel a sense of waste about it. I'm not ready. I feel a sense of betrayal. That's uncontroversial. Nobody expects to get their old body back. They certainly get their body back that I'll die with. So some reassembly of atoms will have to occur. But that have to occur. Those who died, so that we can live, not blown to pieces.
Do you think it's been a life well lived?
I really have to leave that life. I'm encouraged, I'll say this much, I've been encouraged extraordinary generous works of doing. These are the ones I take most. If they say then I'm happy to take it at face value for once. I'll take that. Yes, it should. Must allow for the possibility. In case you are watching this, anybody, and you ever wonder whether to write, always do, because you'd be surprised by how much of it's occurring. I regret, here's a regret, I regret not doing it more often myself.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Last week I travelled to Washington to interview author, journalist and public intellectual Christopher Hitchens. The interview's in two parts. We'll screen it over the next 2 nights. Hitchens was diagnosed with cancer earlier this year while on tour promoting his memoir, Hitch 22. Tonight's interview deals with how he responded to the illness and whether facing death has softened his fierce atheism or caused him to modify his belief that religion poisons everything. Here's the first of our 2-part special. It's very good to see you.
Tony, Nice of you to come to be seen.
It's a pleasure to be here, and although the circumstances aren't great.
The ship is on fire!
How are you feeling?
If this had been yesterday, I was wondering, in fact, yesterday, if I could do this today. And that's because I've just had a kill or cure dose of mainline into me. And in the first few days after that, you feel very compromised, very nauseated, very weak. And that's on top of knowing why you have to have it. My esophagus, which is spread. So it's called stage 4. The thing about stage 4 is there is no stage 5. So I'm finding out how this can be managed, whether I can live with it. It's, I doubt curable. I think the word curable doesn't really apply. It can be treatable. What kind of life and how much of it I have is my big preoccupation now.
Are the treatments working? Do you know?
Well, the tumours were shrinking with the first round, but they've stopped doing that. They're having to try something a bit stronger now, and I may be a candidate for radiation therapy, which is a very tough thing. You've got to be quite strong for it. I have quite a decent constitution in spite of all my use of it and my advanced years. It's still quite robust. But the
We wouldn't say advanced
combination of
years.
well, I'm in my 60s now. I finally look it. I think people until I was 60 would always say they thought I looked younger, which I think, without flattering myself, I did. But I think I certainly have, as George Orwell says, people do after a certain age, the face they deserve.
So, are you actually up for a fear about life, death, the universe, and everything?
Oh yes, I mean, my interest in the project hasn't dimmed at all. In fact, it's quite a good way of concentrating your mind.
You've talked about the cancer right from the beginning, and people have been following your account. Put out your monthly pieces in Vanity Fair, and you've talked about crossing a border into the land of malady. What is that like?
Well, for me personally, it was a bit like being deported, in that I woke up in New York, having gone to bed more or less okay, during a very grueling book tour. And I woke in the morning thinking I would actually die. The whole liquid sac, the pericardium, as it's called, around my hand was filled up.
Enemy aircraft carrier sunk.
Crammed with wet cement. I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe. And I managed to call the emergency services, and these wonderful New Yorkers arrived, but so very heavily armed with sort of cuffs and torches and boots. And I remember thinking idly as they loaded me into the ambulance, why do they need all this for one stricken civilian? It was a bit like being arrested and deported, and in fact, in their kindly way, they were escorting me across the frontier from the land of the well into the land of the very, very ill indeed. And well, it's not a transition you can ever forget making, and of course, it's not one you can ever fully make back again. However well I respond to treatment, I'll never be able to feel the way I did the day before.
What does that mean for your day-to-day life? Because we see you continually out doing interviews like this, taking on exec lectures, debates. How hard is it to actually get yourself out of bed in the morning to continue your life?
Well, I don't get out of bed much before 11 these days. I get out of bed. So I can do about half, I suppose, of what I was doing. I can continue to write as well. That's my big test. There were a couple of days when I was afraid I wasn't. That terrified me very much because people writers like I am, without sounding, I hope, too effective, it is my ability as well as being terrified of the thought that I wouldn't be able to do it. I was afraid it would diminish my will to live, and what would I be doing? But that, fortunately, hasn't proved to be the case. I don't need anything. have a life of its own. But it is alien. It is alive as long as I am. Its only purpose is to kill me. It's a self-destruction. It's only absolute negation. Something living inside that wishes for you, doesn't wish for you. Purpose is to compass your death and keep it under
We sunk an enemy
How do
aircraft
you feel
carrier.
about the people who are praying for you? Because there are some who are praying for you to go to hell. There are some,
Yes.
many more, in fact, who are praying for you to be cured, and some who are praying.
Action stations.
Autopilot mode enabled.